What's up, people? AJ Adams, your power coach here. I'm literally standing in the parking lot getting ready to go into the gym, and I was thinking about you. I think about you often, and I had to stop and share this nugget, this knowledge bomb with you. So we all have passions, we all have dreams, we all have things we're pursuing. Maybe you found a purpose and a cause that you're building toward to be affect changing. Here's the facts. You are going to have haters. Because if you're pursuing something that is huge, that is bigger than what you think you're capable of, and if you saw my last video, I challenged you to write goals and then make those goals 10 times bigger. If you do that and you share that with people, which it's good to share with people because then it's real. You write it down and you share it and hold yourself accountable to what you've put out there. Once you do that, you'll have people who will hate on you, people who will say, "Really, AJ? You're gonna do that? Come on, I know you. I've known you for a long time. Or maybe I just met you. You're not gonna do that. That's ridiculous." One of my favorite movies is Pursuit of Happiness. And it's a story of, I think his name is Chris Garner. The name doesn't matter, but the story and this particular scene is very important. It's the main character, played by Will Smith, and then his son, played by Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith. In the scene, Will Smith's son is playing basketball. They're at the basketball court, and if you don't know the backstory, they're homeless, they're struggling. It's him and his son, and they're living in shelters, they're living on the street, living in bathroom stalls in the subway. It's just a bad situation, and it's a true story. His son is playing the basketball, and like kids do, he has a dream. "Oh, Dad, I'm gonna go pro." He's shooting the ball, barely trying to get it up to the net. "Dad, I'm gonna go pro. Dad, I'm gonna be so awesome. I'm gonna be an NBA star." And his dad says something that just crushes his son's spirit. Because of his experiences, he says to his son, "You know, son, you'll be good at a lot of things, but I don't think basketball is the thing you're gonna be great at. I play basketball, so at best, you'll be as good as I was. At best, you'll be as good as I was." His dad projected his own failure onto his son. You're gonna have haters. You're gonna have people who are gonna tell you that you can't. Hey, you can't build that business. Hey, you can't pursue that dream. Hey, you can't lose weight. You can't be in a successful relationship. You can't graduate from high school with the 4.0 GPA. You can't get into that great college and pursue that degree that opens up doors for a great career. You can't, you can't, you can't. Here's how you deal with that. You need to, number one, consider the source. What I found in my life with people who've told me that I can't, or who have doubted me, or who have been cynical toward a dream that I've had, and the dreams I've had, I've pursued. Some of them turned out great, some of them didn't. The ones that turned out great, awesome. The ones that didn't, I learned valuable lessons from. So it doesn't matter whether or not it ends up being the big success that you expect. The journey, the process is where you gain power, is where you gain knowledge, is where you learn, and it makes you better. But what I've learned about these people who are haters, who tell you that you can't, is that more often than not, in fact, rarely will you find a successful person who says to you, "You can't," who just puts you down, who rains in your parade, who spits in your Skittles, however you want to say it. I don't know where that came from. The point is this: don't let those who aren't tell you that you can't. Don't let those who aren't building a successful business tell you you can't build a successful business. Don't let that person or that friend or whoever who is struggling to maintain a 2.5 GPA tell you that you can't graduate with a 4.0 GPA, that you can't bring yours from a 2.5 to a 4.0. I have a rule for myself when it comes to my business, my life, as a parent, as a husband, as just a man, as a person. I'm very particular in who I take advice from. I have a very short fuse. Very, very short fuse. I will write you off that quick. I don't take advice from people who aren't proven in that space. I don't take business advice from someone who doesn't have a successful business. I don't take fitness advice from someone who is overweight. I don't take parenting advice from someone whose kids are little terrorists. I just don't. Because they obviously don't know. They obviously haven't proven themselves. Now, that may seem a little harsh, But here's the fact, I don't have time to waste. My time is valuable. I'm trying to get places. I don't have time to waste with people who want to give bad advice or want to give advice that is outside of their experience. Now, I take all advice that I hear, I chew on it. If there's something good in it, I take that, I learn from that, I respect that. I'm not completely closed-minded. I just have a very strong, particular filter because I don't have time to pursue and act on advice that isn't proven. Now, here's the kind of caveat to that. I've had people close to me be frustrated with me when I say, oh man, my business coach just told me this, I just talked to this other entrepreneur, or I just did this, or whatever it is, and it's it's gonna work out perfectly. And they look at me and say, I told you that like months ago. I told you that months ago. Well, again, whether their advice is right or not, if I don't have a way to validate or vet that knowledge or that advice, I'm not gonna follow it. Because if someone comes to me and says, hey, you should invest in this, hey, you should do this to lose more weight, if you haven't done it, then I don't know your advice is correct. And if I can't vet that advice, I'm not gonna follow it because that's just not wise. I'll research it, and if I find that it is correct, yeah, I'll follow it. But I don't have time to pursue every bit of advice everyone gives me. So you have to consider the source. And then, like I just mentioned, the second thing is be very particular on who you take advice from. I have a business coach who's proven in business, done incredible things, is a decade ahead of me in business. I listen to his advice. I have a fitness coach who was years ahead of me in fitness, and I take his advice. So when you have someone who's telling you can't, even if it's multiple people, realize there will always be crabs in the bucket. The crabs in the bucket is a real simple analogy. I'll give it to you real quick, and then I gotta hit the gym and get my workout on. Crabs in the bucket. When I was a teen, when I was like maybe 14 years old, I used to go on these missions trips with my church, and we'd go to this tiny island right outside of Guam where I grew up. And when I say tiny, it's tiny. Like, people still wear grass skirts and loincloths. Like, legit, seems like you're in another time period. We would help the people, we'd talk to them, we'd give a message of hope, we'd play games with the kids in the villages. And then on the last day for our team, we'd have this huge cookout. And my pastor at the time is from, has a Cajun background. So he'd get this huge pot, he'd put all the crabs in it, potatoes, Cajun seasoning. It was amazing and delicious. We'd have this huge spread on banana leaves, and in the islands you can catch crabs wild. So we'd catch all these crabs, literally hundreds of crabs. We just grab them off the ground, literally. And then we throw them in a bucket, and then you throw them in a bucket and you salt the water to get all the junk and the chemicals out of the crabs. And in that process, you put them in a very uncomfortable environment. And then you go and grab one out, and then you throw it in the pot. But here's the thing that happened. And I actually have a scar on my index finger. You can't see it here, but I have a scar from where a crab caught me with its claw, its pincher, and cut my finger. Because as I was pulling it out, another crab latched onto it. As I'm trying to pull the one crab out, the other one latched onto it, trying to pull it back down, and another crab latched onto that one, another crab latched onto that one, and in trying to separate them, I got pinched in the finger. This is what that taught me. When you're trying to get out of a bad situation, when you're trying to rise up out of your circumstance or your current station in life, when you're trying to get your grades up, when you're trying to improve your relationships, when you're trying to get your business off the ground, there will be people who are just crabs in the bucket. They hold you down just because they don't want to see you come up, or because they want to grab onto your success and ride your success out of their situation. They're not people who are helping you, they're people who are hindering you, people who are just trying to ride on your success, trying to benefit from all the hard work you're putting in, benefit from your grind and your hustle. You need to be aware of who those people are and shake it off. Do a Taylor Swift, do a Swiftie on them. Shake, shake, shake it off. So there you go. There's your encouragement, there's your power tip for the day. Consider the source when someone tells you that you can't do something, when they put you down. Be very particular on who you take advice from. And number 3, realize there will always be crabs in the bucket. Recognize those crabs and shake them off. I'm AJ Adams, your power coach, reminding you that passion reveals purpose, but your power makes it possible. Now I'm gonna hit the gym.